He's Arsene Wedgers, man. He's better than Zidane. We've got Mesut Ozil. I thought we were gonna say we got a Mesut Ozil Natty or not before GTA6. All right, and so a Natty or not. And everyone has been blowing up my phone. You gotta do a Natty or not on this guy. And I'm like, who are you guys even talking about? Apparently he played soccer. Let me see if I can say his name. Mesut Ozil. He's got about 30 million followers, and based on how many people said you got to do a Natty or not, he's probably one of the most famous soccer players in the world, or he used to play soccer. And so full disclosure, I have absolutely no idea who this guy is, but I certainly know how to do a Natty or not on him. And as soon as I saw the photo, I'm like, why are people asking me to do a Natty or not on him? Obviously, he's not natural. And so, spoiler alert, I don't think this guy is natural, and I'm gonna explain why I don't think he's natural. And so, let's get right into it. And so, first things first, for those of you who don't know this guy, he used to play soccer and then he retired. And I went over all of his photos, and he never had a lot of muscle. He was basically the skinny guy, and it's not like he didn't try. He was working out. I found photos of him lifting hard in the gym. He had 185 pounds on the bench press, and he was attempting to be athletic. It's not like he just sat around and played video games all the time, and then suddenly his unknown genetics for having a huge amount of muscle were just suddenly discovered. He was playing soccer, he was active, he was trying to be in shape. He'd be in shape his entire life. And so in case some of you are saying, no, he looks great, look at his legs, he had great legs, he had great abs. Yeah, he had some abs. It's not hard to get abs if you're running around playing soccer all the time. As long as you're not eating in a surplus, you're probably gonna have a six-pack. When you compare him to his peers, does that guy look like he has amazing genetics? Compare his legs to the other soccer players' legs. And so if anything, I would say his genetics compared to other soccer players are below average. And so you can see it's not bad. Guy's clearly in good shape. He has some great legs, but where is the muscle? It doesn't look like this guy in a couple of years is suddenly gonna put on a ton of muscle. Notice the t-shirt does not hug the arm. He has very small arms. When you wear a t-shirt and there's no hugging of the arms, you're not jacked. And so he's out here suntanning, he's got some abs, he looks good. And so he clearly looks like an athlete, but he doesn't look like some guy that if he starts going to the gym, is just gonna blow up. He doesn't look like he might in fact be a bodybuilder in a matter of 2 years. Proof. It's not like he didn't work out. If he had a body like this and never did anything ever, but just started running, then maybe he could make that change in 2 years. But this guy was already working out. He was already an athlete. He was already doing the bench press. He was already doing all the drills to be an elite level soccer player. I'm assuming he was elite. I don't know if he was, but if he had 30 million followers, the guy must have been famous. I mean, you don't get 30 million followers being an athlete if you're not very good. He's not a bench warmer, and so clearly he was trying to be his optimal self, his best self possible. And so don't use the excuse of, oh, he had all these newbie gains left, and so suddenly that makes sense. We have another photo where he's leaning forward, flexing the abs. This is not just him sitting down. You know if there's taken a photo and he chose to post it, then he took the best photo humanly possible. And so if he chose to post this photo, it's because he's proud of how he looked. That was in 2015. And so do you really think 9 years later, he's gonna suddenly put on a ton of muscle? 2013, a quote from none other than Mr. Natty himself, The Rock. If you follow The Rock, you're gonna be slightly brainwashed into thinking you can put on a ton of muscle. The Rock looks like this, claims to be natural, and you're thinking, no, if I wake up at 4:30 to train, if I'm the hardest trainer in the room, then maybe I will someday look like The Rock. And when you don't, what do you think you're gonna do? And so when you're on steroids versus when you're natural, when it becomes obvious, there's a different look to your physique. Your physique literally looks different. You don't go from looking like this to looking like this while being natural. If you train natural, you absolutely can put on muscle. Without question, you're gonna put on more size. But steroids, in fact, change many aspects of your body. We're gonna get into them right now. Before I explain this whole thing, let's see what my audience thinks. I posted this about an hour ago. 31% stated natty, just hard work, and genetics. 69% of people, you kidding? No way this is natural. And so the majority of people are saying, this ain't natural. We've seen Coach Greg videos. We've seen what's naturally achievable. And this ain't it. Bro, I saw him last year just built like a person who were in the gym for 6 months. And I know you all know the answer from this pic. The guy seeing him, remember he's famous. This guy saw him 6 months ago, sees him now and is like, what do you think? What do you think happened? At his age and with his money and help from professional sports doctors, I know for a fact he's on the juice. Now we have an audience who's actually thinking. We have a multi-millionaire who's now retired from soccer. He's not subject to drug testing. There's no incentive for him to be natural. And so why wouldn't he try to optimize his health, his body, his performance, everything? And so let's now examine the body. In the photo on the left, I 100% believe he was natural. I don't think he was taking anything. Many people say, oh, all the soccer players, they're giving this, they're giving back, they're allowed to take it. They just turned a blind eye. I don't believe that to be true. And so I'm going to say this guy, natural on the left while playing soccer. Now, on the right, does he look leaner or fatter than on the left? I'm asking you. Based on what I see, I think he's leaner. I think his body fat has gone down. And how would you do that? By eating in a calorie deficit. And so when you eat in a calorie deficit and you try to get leaner, it's harder to build muscle. Why do you think people all go on bulks? They go on bulks because they think it's going to be way easier to put on muscle. And I can tell you, if you go on a cut, it's going to be harder to put on muscle. Yet, does he not look like he has more muscle? And so we're to believe that this guy lowered his body fat and increased his muscle mass by this much all at the same time. That is an uphill battle. And so that's one reason I don't think he's natural. The second reason, examine his face. His face on the left versus his face on the right. Which looks bigger, puffier, more swollen? On the right, he's leaner, yet he looks more puffy. Why is that? When you're overweight and you go on a diet, what happens to your face? Does it look fatter or skinnier? And so if he had gone on a diet, you would expect his face to be sunken in. You get sunken in cheeks, you look leaner, you're carrying less body fat, but yet I see the opposite. There's another famous individual, he did something similar to this. Look at his face. The notorious MMA, Conor McGregor. Y'all see Conor McGregor's face? Remember when he put on 25 pounds in the off season when he wasn't subject to drug testing after having broken his leg? What did you notice about his face? He got bigger, puffier. Steroids cause you to retain water. Oftentimes due to the fact that testosterone converts to estrogen, you end up being bloated, you carry more water, and I certainly had this happen. When I look at my old photos, despite the fact that I was very lean, my face was very full. We'll call it full. It was a full looking face. I was still lean, but my face looked puffier than last time from steroids. I believe that his face looks bigger, and I believe that that is from taking steroids. Next, I do believe his hairline is perhaps going back a little bit. If you look on the right, can't be sure, but it seems as if perhaps in this area, starting to lose hair faster than last time. Now, obviously, there's a lot to do with genetics. But if you take steroids and you're predisposed to going bald because of your genetics, it's going to make it faster than last time. You're going to lose your hair at an accelerated rate. I've seen this amongst many individuals. But what about the physique? Look at the vascularity. He's got veins the size of my pinky in his arms, running up the forearms into the biceps, veins in the abdominals. That is a very lean, single-digit body fat physique. And to have that low of a body fat percentage with increased muscularity, very, very difficult, unless he's on performance-enhancing drugs. And so sometimes a physique just looks not natural. When I see that photo of him lifting up the shirt with that smile looking in the mirror, it screams out at me not natural. I'm not saying you can't get that much muscle while being 100% natural, but the quality and the look of the muscle, it looks like he's not natural. It looks like this muscle was achieved in a very short period of time from taking performance-enhancing drugs. Anabolic steroids are both anabolic and androgenic. Anabolic means they build muscle. Androgenic makes you look more like a man. Harder muscles, more grainy, and this is why it's dangerous for females to take. It can make your voice get deeper, can grow more facial hair, grow the downstairs, and so on. These are some of the negative side effects. It's causing virilization. It's making more of a man. To me, when I look at his photo, it looks like this is occurring to him. I'm not talking about getting a deeper voice and growing facial hair, but his physique looks like he's on androgens, something to make him look grainier, harder, and drier. And so who is this guy? Somebody asked the same thing. Ozil's a football player. So I don't know if you're allowed to say soccer. Depending on the country you're in my country, we call football soccer. We call football where you actually run and throw with a quarterback. We call that football. Look, I'm not trying to insult people who play soccer, nor am I trying to insult people who play football. He is a Turkish man. Well, if he's from Turkey, if he goes bald, he certainly knows where to go to get a hair transplant. Nope, not Natty, but what a baller this guy was, and I don't think he even claims Natty. And so that's a great point. He doesn't claim to be natural. He's not subject to drug testing. He's excessively wealthy, rich, can afford all the best doctors in the world. And so if he goes up to his doctor and says, you know what, I'm done with football. I don't want to be natural. I just want to look jacked, but I don't want to do so while being healthy. Hook me up. Is there anything wrong with that? I don't personally think there's anything wrong with that. If he's not breaking any laws, he's doing what he wants to do, and he's doing so with the advice and consent from his doctor, then that's okay. Now listen, if you are in fact contemplating using steroids and you're under the age of 25, then you're being an idiot. It's ridiculous. You shouldn't do it. If you're an adult, however, and you're looking for a doctor to supervise you, perhaps HRT, get your blood work done, perhaps you want peptides, you want to optimize your health, well, I would recommend Transcend. Click the link in the description. As you know, I've partnered with Transcend, and so if you want an actual doctor to oversee what you're doing to make sure you're doing it in a healthy environment, strongly recommend Transcend. Click the link in the description. You won't reach that dry look naturally. Same with huge veins. They expand due to high blood pressure from steroids. And so here's the thing, his physique actually doesn't look natural. I personally had more muscle than this guy and was leaner than this guy, but it didn't look the same. It didn't have the same quality to the muscle. When you take androgens from steroids, it changes the appearance of the muscle. When you're 100% natural, you can look aesthetic, you're doing your poses, you look good, but it has a different look than somebody who's taking steroids. You take the best natural bodybuilder and put him up on stage, and if you give him some androgens, some steroids for even a matter of 2 weeks, you're going to look completely different. It absolutely changes your physique. And so even if you have the genetics to have huge muscles, you're not going to look the same. It's not going to look like this. And what they're saying is true. When you take steroids, it increases your hematocrit, your red blood cells go up higher than last time, and you end up with more of a vascular look. When I was natural and competed, I didn't have veins floating off all over my body, despite the fact that I was very, very lean. Do I not look lean? Do I not look like I have a lot of muscle? This is about 20 years of training, but it doesn't have the androgens to change the appearance of the physique. Now, in comparison, if you look at how I look in the future, when I'm on steroids, I have a lot different look to my muscle. Even right now, I'm on HRT, 140 milligrams a week. I look completely different than if I were 100% natural. Because I'm on HRT, I have higher levels of testosterone. Testosterone is both anabolic and androgenic, and it changes the look of my muscle. Many people, even on HRT, their hematocrit levels go up. They have an increased blood pressure and so on. And so you have to be safe. You have to be careful. Make sure you're doing so with the advice and consent from your doctor. Now, my blood pressure is low. It's about 110/70. Certainly very healthy. Other people with higher blood pressure, perhaps they're not doing their cardios and so on, or they have higher levels of body fat. They're not going to have the same look. And so ask yourself, why would this guy be natural? And is it not obvious? The fact that he doesn't say he's natural, does that not show that he's not? If he was natural, people who are natural, here's the thing. They want everyone to know about it. No one's out there training natural every day and not saying anything. If you train natural and you have a certain level of physique, you want other people to know, look, I look pretty good, but this is natural. If I was on this shit, I would look way better. I know I wanted to tell people, when I was natural, I would say to people, I'm natural, because I knew they probably thought I wasn't natural. They expected that I was on steroids. And so when I said, no, I'm actually natural, they were much more impressed. And so people who are natural, they don't want people to think that they're enhanced, and people who are enhanced sometimes don't want people to know they're enhanced. And the reason for that is they don't want people to have an expectation that, well, you don't look like The Rock, you don't look like Coach Greg, and so you suck, you probably don't train hard. And one of my favorite comments, who gives a shit, man? I have been inundated with messages of people saying, do an ad or not on this guy. Inundated. Over 5,000 people are voting. And so no one cares? Bullshit. Everyone cares. And why? Because people want to know, can you in fact make these changes natural? Let's say I made this video and said, it's natural. He just has great genetics. People out there are thinking, wow, well, I should go to the gym. I should train really hard for a year, because if he can do it and he's just some soccer player that decided to start lifting weights, well, I'd probably make even more of a big transformation. The truth of the matter is, this kind of transformation, it's excessively rare. Even putting on this much muscle is hard. But putting on this much muscle and having veins in your arm the size of my pinky, and being shredded, and having a moon face all at the same time while having receding of balding, do you really think that's natural? That's what you expect for a guy in his 30s to just come out and suddenly that's what's going to happen. I don't think so. We've got Ozil, Mesut Ozil, I just don't think you understand. He's Arsene Wedgers, man. He's better than Zidane. We've got Mesut Ozil. I thought we were gonna say we got a Mesut Ozil natty or not before GTA6. He's on HRT just like you. Hey, I'm not saying he's on trend. I'm not saying he's not on doctor-prescribed medications. Perhaps he's on Test, Deca, and Anavar. Perhaps he's on growth hormone, on peptides. There's a whole host of supplements that are 100% legal for people to take that could cause them to look like this. I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm not saying that the doses, in my opinion, are safe. But remember, I'm not his doctor. But I certainly know that at 140 milligrams of test a week, it's certainly improving my physique. I'm 48 years old. Do I not look like I have a lot of muscle? For a guy that works out 3 days a week with weights, max, and rides the bike 6 to 7 times a week. I went for a 2-hour bike ride yesterday. Do I look like I have a lot of muscle? Consider I'm a cyclist that works out. Do bike riders have the muscle that I have? I think I look way bigger and leaner than most cyclists. And do you not think that HRT is helping me? Pretty sure it does. Remember, I don't bullshit you. I'm not saying I'm better than everyone. I'm saying I'm on HRT. I have great genetics. I'm lucky. Of course, I put in the work, but clearly I'm being assisted. Growth hormone 8 IU a day and testosterone 1 M a week. Maybe. I mean, he definitely could be on growth hormone. I would doubt he's on 8 IUs a day. I would hope that a guy who plays soccer for his entire life wouldn't suddenly think, I'm going to just blow my health by taking and abusing steroids to that degree, taking growth hormone at 8 IUs a day. I hope there would be no doctor that would prescribe that, but who knows? I would say not natty, but I'm sure the picture is after the workout when he's pumped, so who knows? Absolutely, of course. They're posting their best photo. He's pumped up, he's perhaps oiled up, as everyone wants me to do, and he's taken this photo at his best, perhaps with the best camera angles, lighting, and so on. But even still, I'm saying not natty, I still don't think you're gonna get that look while being natural. In a year, nah. Now consider, this isn't a year. Everything I mentioned, plus the fact it's 1 year. The face change, the hairline, the vascularity, the shreds. It's in a year. He'd been training his entire life. He didn't just suddenly start training. He wasn't a marathon runner who was underfed, malnourished, and started saying, oh, I'm gonna now eat 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight and buy a Jeff Nippard and Mike Isertel app. I don't think so. It's mostly his face. He looks chubby as hell, and his body is so different from what it was. See, the extra muscle while the face looking chubbier, different, that is the telltale sign. If you had just said, oh, he put on 15 pounds of muscle in a year, I've been like, yeah, not natural. I'm just being serious. But if you'd said, hey, put on 9 pounds of muscle in a year, I'd be like, I just think he trained hard, good genetics. But the face, if he had put on that much muscle and he had the same face or it was more chiseled looking, I'd be like, man, is it possible this guy has really good genetics? I gotta give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm not gonna say the guy's not natural, but the face gave it away with the change in the body at the same time. Usually you should see both things moving in the same direction. If you're getting leaner, your face should be leaner. If your muscles are getting harder, if he's getting strided chest and so on, and abs and veins and the face is getting more sunk in, I'm like, maybe. But when the face gets puffier, but the abs get leaner, same time, telltale giveaway. Why is bro hard in the second picture? Number 1 suggested reason, probably because he's on harder than last time. And so in conclusion, I think he's not natural. I can't guarantee it, but I'm quite certain he's taking something. I'm not gonna say what it is, I don't know what it is, and I'm gonna assume that he's doing so with the advice and consent from his doctor. They're helping him out, they're helping him get his best physique. He's an adult, he's above the age of 25, he's trained his entire life, and so if he wants to do this, good on him. I'm not trying to put him down, he hasn't done anything wrong, he's posted a before and after photo, and so there it is. If you're looking to get Turk Builder, GO2 Max, harder than last time, the pre-workouts, all of this stuff, head over to my website. Don't forget, code Greg, 15% off. And if you have no money, you got the free diet and training program. It's close to 50 pages in length. Also become one of the 300,000 plus newsletter subscribers. Click the bell button, subscribe right now, do it. And leave a comment, it helps with the algorithm. You can also get my Harder Than Last Time clothing line on the website. There's hoodies, jogging pants, t-shirts, shorts, all kinds of stuff. And also if you want to get the Circle Diet book and the cookbooks, there's several different versions. Also the training books, all on the website, code Greg 15% off. And until next time, I am out.